it mentioned like the Boondock Saints, so
Yeah.
I did not use the Boondock Saints as that would have been my first choice though.
Oh, no.
Because it would have stemmed from all the Charlie Bronson's always got rope. Here's your bloody rope. Like those guys were just wonderful with the rope gag and the way that played. That would have been my first choice, but I think that's like everyone's. And I got to say, I really had a lot of trouble thinking something up. Did I make this up, or didn't Clive Owen have an interesting scene like this in Shoot 'Em Up?
I'm pretty sure he did. I mean, he shot people in every way imaginable in that movie.
While having sex with Monica Bellucci as well. But the sex scene gunfight. But what actually came to mind wasn't a gunfight. What came to mind for me was just like one nice little scene in a movie that I can watch every week of my life. True Lies. When Arnold Schwarzenegger is just sliding down the rope upside down to snap that Middle Eastern terrorist's neck.
Yeah, I do remember that.
It's just that easy. But that movie for me was like Arnold at his peak. Like that was because he was still doing his one-liners, but he was a little less cheesy about it. It was more dad joke-ish, and he was a dad. And so and he was wearing a button-up shirt and slacks when he did this, upside down to kill this guy. So like that scene really, so many scenes in that movie, by the way, really stick with me. I could podcast about True Lies. That's a fun one.
Isn't there a scene where he's going down a hill and he's like shooting snowmobile people that are coming at him?
Right, and he is sliding on his back.
Yeah, and misses all the trees.
Head forward, going down a hill really fast, like shooting as if he was laying on a tarp or something, or getting pulled. Like it's so impractical, and yet for some reason I just buy it all. I am on that journey. I can't help but to wonder if that scene, because of all those shenanigans with like snowmobiles and dudes on skis with guns, like did that influence like the Pierce Brosnan Bond movie that had a fight like that, or like when they were trying to get in Cillian Murphy's head in Inception, like. Because that snow fight was at the time like the most awesome snow fight there probably ever was in True Lies.
I mean, that was. I mean, Bond had some good ones, but they were never as cool as this one. This one took that element and made it much better. And I guess he's kind of upside down, right? Not upside down. He's going backwards, shooting people.
It's lunacy. Downhill too. That's got to be so disorienting. You are sliding down the snow head first down a steep slope on your back. Like you are so. Yeah. What if he did hit a tree? He'd just be dead.
Yeah. Your head would be smushed.
That was more dangerous than getting shot at.
And then he's just wiping those dudes out. You know what movies like that, like Tom Arnold, I think is very good in True Lies. So it's movies like Scream, where David Arquette and Jamie Kennedy are very good. And there's other movies, of course. Like I thought Rose McGowan was really good in Planet Terror. You see these actors be really good in some movies. Mm-hmm. And then other movies don't really know how to use them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're like,
and it was a perfect balance of Tom Arnold's zaniness with being a kind of serious character.
Yeah, it's interesting how you watch him. I'm not saying they're all always bad, but when people are like, "Oh yeah, they're not good actors," I'm like, "Well, I think they are. I just think they got maybe pigeonholed into something."
Tom Arnold in True Lies could just as well actually be the same exact character as Tom Arnold from 9 Months.
Oh yeah, he's funny in that. And wait, and I like him in Austin Powers too. Yeah, you tell him who's boss.
Yeah, that's right. You sure that's right.
I saw 9 Months in the theater 3 times. That's Jeff Goldblum, Robin Williams, Tom Arnold, Hugh Grant, Julianne Moore. That's a stacked cast.
Joan Cusack.
How did I forget the Joan?
Yeah, she was. I love that movie. I love that. I love that more than I feel. I don't think most people can understand loving that movie as much as I love that movie.
I can probably count on 2 hands the amount of movies I've watched in theaters 3 times, and that was one of them. I just had a fun time with that. But my answer.
Okay.
I was going to say Boondock Saints, but we already brought that up. But in Boondock Saints is an accident how it happens. Like they fall and the rope randomly gets around their feet. That's why I went Punisher Warzone. There's a scene in Punisher Warzone, the opening scene, where the Punisher walks in, jumps on a banquet table, murders a ton of people. Then he jumps up, attaches his legs. Ray Stevenson, 6'4", 250 pounds, goes upside down, attaches his legs to a hanging chandelier, and just starts shoots people for no reason. Like, he could have stayed on his feet and been equally effective, and not had blood rushing to his head.
That can't be good for your aim.
He had no reason to do that, but he just randomly does it. So that's why I did it, because it was a conscious choice. He wasn't stuck upside down. He wasn't, he didn't just randomly fall and get the rope attached to his foot. He made the conscious choice, a 6'4", 250 pound man, to hang from his legs from a chandelier. I respect that.
I need to see that ridiculous movie one day.
You haven't watched it?
No, I've never seen it.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, it's like,
I still remember you going crazy about that when he like Scud missiles or whatever bazookas the parkour guy.
I watched that movie the one time, right, and I did not like it. And then I listened to an interview with the director, and I think maybe it just changed my perception of it, because I maybe thought it just wasn't gonna be a good movie. This is 10 years ago, so I gave it another chance, and I watched it again, and I loved it. You have to get on. I think you just have to get in the wavelength of just how crazy it is. It's like unhealthy. It's just crazy. And everyone just commits. So, and there's a 250 pound 6'4" Punisher running around very slowly, which makes me happy.
He's a big fella.
All right. That was fun, right?
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into this movie, John. The final one. So this came out in 2017. It only made $26 million domestically, but it made $312 million internationally. Paul W.S. Anderson came back to direct and write. Jeremy Bolt was back. Then we had Milla Jovovich. She's back as always. And they brought back some familiar faces with Claire, played by Ellie Larder. She was in 3, 4, and 6. Then you bring back Wesker, Sean Roberts, who's been a problem through all of this. He's even more Zoolander in this movie. Then you have Dr. Isaacs, who plays 2 characters in this movie. Spoiler.
3
characters in this. Oh yeah, 3 characters.
Wait, or is it 3 or is it? Yeah, it's 3.
And what I love about him is I already used this line because I was going to use it for him, but I used it earlier. One of his scenes, he's basically just nibbling scenery, and the other one, he's just full on chewing on film. In this one, and he's my favorite part of this movie. There's this line when I'm jumping to the end, and we can get there a little later. But when he looks at there's 3 kind of Alices together, and he goes, the Trinity of bitches. I'm like, and he goes, I've been ahead of you every step of the way. It's just like he's like in Game of Thrones and Monarch of the Glen, he's very love struck with these women, and he falls in love, but he can't get them. And then this one, he's just full on villain, and I love him in this movie. He's my favorite part.
It's interesting because I've been rewatching Game of Thrones lately, getting ready for the final season next year. And so I'll watch, you see a couple episodes of him in like season 2 being all noble and thoughtful and well spoken. And then you go watch Resident Evil, the final chapter, where he is just the most zany caricature of his own characters in this franchise that we've ever seen, and doing multiple roles. Like they're all zany. And then, I go back and I watch him as Jorah Mormont again, and it's just like, what is happening right now? Like, I can't process that this stuff was being made around the same time. These feel like they should be from very different chapters in someone's career.
Yeah, no, for sure. I wonder if he mixed up the characters sometimes, and the director's like, what's going on, Ian? But
yeah, like he plays this zealot, and he plays
Jerky.
He plays 2 versions of himself, one of whom is Agent Smith.
I love it though. Like this movie, I looked over at my wife Megan. I had it on this morning, just taking some notes because I just didn't have much notes on it. So I'm like, I need to really give this, so we're having our morning coffee, and I put this on to kind of watch the ending because the comment you made about the ending, everything coming together, and I'm watching this, and just I looked over at Megan, and I was like, I wish I could have this, like, if I was an actor, I would want this role that he plays in this, because he just did whatever he wanted, I felt like.
It's a fun role.
Like, he should have been holding like a full-on honey-baked ham
That's right.
During each roll. Just to be very literal about it. But
yeah, it's interesting. But so something that I really appreciate about this franchise is that it does two things that really I don't think normally would happen in the same franchise. One of them is it's very blatant. At the end of every single movie, it basically says, boom, see you with the sequel. This is what's happening next. Yeah. And then it actually picks up right there in the next movie, whenever the next movie comes out. So it's doing this cheap, like, hey, there's going to be a sequel. But then on the other side, though, of the cheap tactics, it really did slowly enrich the characters, not like Alice's sidekicks that she meets in each movie, but it enriches the whole franchise length characters. The Alice character, the Dr. Isaacs character, what we learn about the Red Queen, what we learn about Wesker. Like we learn more and more about these characters as the franchise goes on, and you're always wondering, like, are they ever going to wrap this up? Am I ever going to know anything about this? Or are they just doing video game shenanigans? Or are they just telling us stuff? And they actually, I feel like they really, of all the silliness of this franchise, I think they did a nice job wrapping up a lot of those things.
You know what it kind of solidified for me? And I totally agree with you. It's a nice ending. So it ends everything.
This ending is nicer than a Resident Evil franchise would deserve in my head.
Just another cliffhanger. Like what? She killed them, but then you realize that she just killed the clones.
Right.
But I guess for me, this made me realize that the Red Queen might be the hero of this story.
Right.
She is the hero because in the first one, all right, so
She even explains her actions from the first movie.
I don't even understand why that guy threw the T-virus then, if they were just gonna do one anyway. Because he was trying to escape. And then, if she's a clone, how is she doing deals because she didn't remember? Because she was with that one lady trying to get in there. That kind of retcons some ideas. But the Red Queen's basically like, I can't let people out because this is going to kill billions. And you're already infected. I'm not trying to kill innocent. And there's a point where the Red Queen goes, I can let you guys go, but the infected person needs to stay with me. Because billions will die. And they're like, you're evil, you're homicidal. And then, in the third one, she's like, yeah, you're a homicidal bee. And she's like, well, I was just doing my job.
Right.
And then in the fifth one, she's back in that training facility, and she's not trying to destroy the world, right? She's just running simulations to do whatever. But then Wesker gets Alice out of there, destroys the facility, then turns on her. And then in this one, the Red Queen's like, I'm going to help you. So I think the Red Queen's kind of the hero of the story.
Yeah.
And it was
that's pretty fair.
It was Milla and the director's daughter in this one. That's actually their daughter that they did this together. Paul W.S. and Milla Jovovich. They got married, had a kid in between the 15 years that they made these movies. 16 years. So that's kind of fun that they weren't married on Resident Evil. Then they got married, had a kid, and the kid's in the sixth one.
That's cute. I didn't realize that. Yeah.
And then, so I mean, I thought the Red Queen was a hero. I know we're jumping the end, but who cares? I liked how Wesker got. That was fun because he's just a punk.
God.
That was a funny ending, though.
The very ending or his end?
When she goes, Wesker, you're fired. Then the Red Queen's like, yeehaw!
Wesker was such a... It's funny. They got rid of him like he was just a sniveling shit in this one, whereas in the previous movie, he was Agent Smith in the Matrix sequels. Like... Yeah.
And he ate everybody on a ship, didn't he?
He was trying to. And, he just wanted to watch the world burn.
I read an article from Bloody Disgusting where they basically said that there's tons of plot holes in this movie, and they're like, listen, yes. And can I read a couple to you? And we don't have to go too in depth, but this is what, I liked what she wrote about this. So in the second Resident Evil, we learned that the T-virus was created by... In Resident Evil Apocalypse, we are told that Dr. Charles Ashford's Jared Harris' daughter, Angela Sophie had to walk on crutches when she was little. Charles found a way to make her stronger. This was the T-virus. So did Jared Harris invent the T-virus, and then Umbrella stole the virus from him and harnessed it to make organic weapons. So he created it, and then